I think that's part of the role of a forecaster. A forecaster is saying, hey, not only from a mathematical equation, I understand what needs to happen in the business, but how do I articulate this? It's so easy for people who are in our roles, like to be introverted and say, hey, it's just the numbers, it's just the math. But unless you can make those numbers tell a story, come off the sheet of paper and reach across the lane to your counterpart or to other business leaders and other operations, it's just numbers on the paper. Hey guys, and welcome to another WFM Tipsy Thursdays. I am Juanita Coley, the Contact Center Whisperer, the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting. And this week we are talking about the role of forecasting and the impacts to your contact center customer experience, employee experience, and business profitability. I have with me none other than the amazing Alex Owen Clark, hailing all the way over from across the pond. Alex, thank you so much for joining me on this week's Tipsy Thursday. I appreciate you.
Juanita, thanks for having me. I'm just genuinely starstruck to be here.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's hop into the question of this week, the Tipsy Thursday for this week, which is this is a big question, I'm kind of setting you up here, right? Right.
Oh,
What
that's
is
good. Yep.
the role of forecasting in your own words?
It's step one. It's the place you start in the planning cycle. So if you've never been a planner before, like I used to not be, then you have to start there. If your forecast says 0, then you can't schedule. You can't do anything. The day will come along and steamroll you, and you won't have a clue where you are. This wasn't even very long ago. I think this was in 2023. I was working with a client who came and asked me to help them, and I sat down in front of them and asked them what their problems were. And one of the guys said, the thing is, you can't forecast the weather. So why do we even try? And I said, no, you can. And people do every day, right? What you mean is it's hard, and you have to be brave, and you have to have a go. And you have to say, tomorrow, I think it will snow. And then when it doesn't snow, everyone will say, Alec got it wrong. It didn't snow. What's wrong with him? But the role of the forecaster is to be brave and have a go. And then you have all the technical capability that comes along with that. Do you know how to use your system? Do you understand the algorithm? What are the feeds? Blah, blah, blah. And then you need intuition. So all of those understandings of maths and statistics, they're great. And some people can really do that. But they still can't say, I think it's going to snow tomorrow, because they don't have the intuition to be confident that that is what the machine is telling them. And a forecaster has to do. They have to be brave enough to take all of those things, all the soft and hard elements of this, the maths and the people, and external events, right? So maybe you need to look at the news website and see what's happening in the wider world as well. Take everything into account and then be brave enough to make that conclusion. And I think that's where people kind of fall down. The guy who asked me the question, he didn't love that answer. And I kind of appealed to his colleagues and said, no, you clearly you can forecast the weather. It's not a question of it's impossible to do it. It's a question of bravery, right? You have to stand on it. And you don't have to necessarily say, well, it's going to snow and I'm staking my whole career on that. If it doesn't snow, I'll resign. That's not the goal here. You can say that the 85% chance of snow tomorrow. That's an informed decision, and that's what I think is going to happen. So I think that is the role of the forecaster. Yeah.
Hey guys, listen. So y'all know I'm a data nerd, and 88% of you guys that are watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you are finding value in this content, can I ask you to do me a favor? Could you subscribe to our channel? What this allows us to do is to continue to keep adding value, bringing insights and the latest in trends around customer experience, employee experience, business profitability, workforce management. Thank you so much for being here. You are truly valued. We appreciate if you would subscribe and follow us for more information.
Yeah.
What do you think the impacts of that is when you have a forecaster who is brave, right? Who is leveraging the data and they're standing on the data also, but then they also are then leveraging their intuition to say, yeah, I know this is what the data is saying, but something that we're not taking into consideration is X, Y, and Z. This is something we've never seen before. So we may want to increase handle time or increase our, this by X% because of this. What do you think the impacts of that is then?
It's a cascade. So having a person who's there looking after that first step in the planning cycle cascades right down. Like you said at the beginning, employee satisfaction, customer retention, sales improvements, you name it, that's the first step in making this all work. Or even if we're brave enough to stand on a platform that says, actually, I'm not that confident that this is going to happen tomorrow. It's our best guess. And we might find there's a different scenario that could happen given a bunch of just this kind of the confidence to stand on the platform of what you think cascades down. You only need to look at a room full of team managers. When you say to them, I'm actually not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know. It could be anything. Then, okay, well, they'll just make it up themselves. They'll have a team meeting and they'll send a bunch of people to their lunch break early. If you say the example I just gave, then they're going to listen to you. You need to instill that confidence in your customers, which as a forecaster is probably going to be the business, right? And when you do that, then people listen to you and they wait for you to say, actually, it's going exactly how I expected. What that means is that we should go ahead with that training session this afternoon. If you can still want to do that, that slot's available to you. And when you can speak with authority, informed by either accuracy or not. Like I said, often people are saying, well, are you saying that if I can't make it accurate to within 1%, it's useless to have? No, not at all. It's not the accuracy that I think is important. It's the confidence. You can say, well, normally we're within 1-2%. This week, we're thinking that we're aiming for 5. We have a unique set of circumstances. There's X, Y events happening. We've never seen them before. So we've taken a stab. And as such, we think this is what's going to happen. And this is what we're going to do about it. So come along with us on that journey.
And one of the things that I love that you said was it's about having the confidence. Because one of the things that I've seen I saw this in an organization a couple years back where the workforce management team was saying, right, they have been articulating this, but they didn't stand on it like you mentioned earlier, right? They have been saying, hey, we are understaffed. Now, when I was brought in, I did all of the things, all the, consulting, and then ran all the numbers, looking at all the things, because they were like, hey, I don't understand why we cannot meet service level. We haven't met service level in 10 years, which was, my mind was blown. But yeah, that was the first thing. But then the second thing was, I gave them the same answer that their workforce management team gave them. The difference was I was confident and I could explain it. Confidence comes through competency.
Yeah.
See, when you're competent, that builds confidence. See, a lot of times you can be right, but you're not sure why you're right. And so you don't have the confidence to articulate what you're saying. So I went in and I did what I needed to do. And I said, okay, this is the problem. You're understaffed. So no matter how much you want to hit that 80-30, this is a math equation. To hit 80-30, you need X amount of people and you have X amount of people. So you either need to change the 80-30 goal, right? Or you need to hire X amount of people, which again, I didn't tell them anything differently than the workforce management team had tried to articulate, but because they weren't competent in the skill level, right, of how they are articulating the matter, they weren't confident. They just knew, hey, I know that we need more people, but how do you know you need more people? Right. And so I think that is super important. Hey, transformative leader, listen, have you grabbed your copy of WFM Go Beyond? Go and grab your copy at WFMGoBeyond.com. WFM Go Beyond is sectioned into 2 sections. Section 1 is the foundation and the fundamentals of workforce management. The core 4, you've heard me talk about this. data gathering, forecasting, scheduling, intraday. But section 2 is the part that I get super excited about, especially for 2025, because we are pushing and encouraging and challenging leaders to go beyond and push into transformative impact. And section 2 is going to do that to help you understand how you tie your WFM strategy into your CX initiatives, your EX initiatives, and business profitability goals. So if you're an operational leader, executive, a WFM leader that has a operations efficiency goal, okay, and you want to drive transformative impacts, WFM Go Beyond is your resource. So go to WFMGoBeyond.com and grab your copy today. Bye. So Alec, give me a tip when it comes to the impacts to forecasting in agent life.
It's that I don't think forecasters should rely on the answer that they get from the forecasting software. That's not to say that they shouldn't use it. It's the only way to contain the complexity. No human brain can have a multi-skilled forecast like locked inside it. But the thing that I see people do time and time again is they say, well, it used to be accurate, now it isn't. And it's always a really easy one to fix. And you guys pay a lot of money for us to come in, and you don't want to pay us to do the easy stuff. So when you find yourself saying, it used to be accurate and now it isn't, find out why. It's easy to do that. You just need to look at the inputs to it. And then you need to use your intuition against the outputs from it. And I think if people did that, then they would need less of my time, which would be awful. So maybe don't. But also, it's an honest tip. So yeah,
I love that answer because it's hand in hand with why we teach not only the solution, but why we also teach the discipline.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's so important. Yes, use the tool because like you said, listen, my brain be braining, but it can't brain all those different cues and all the different things. And so yes, that's why we use the solution to scale the process. But over-reliance on the tool to be able to think like a human is probably one of the pitfalls that I see a lot of times. The tool doesn't know that it's Black Beach Week, right? It doesn't know that it's this, crazy, holiday that's going to come. Like you have to tell it that, right? And then you have to tell it the factors the impacts that has on the forecast or on the schedules, right? And so if we are heavily relying on the tool, right, to create processes or to understand our environment, then that is going to definitely have a trickle down impact to what agents are seeing when it comes to their actual schedules and where their breaks are and all the different things, right? If they have time off, you said we're going to be just back-to-back calls today, and I came in, my PTO was denied, and I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs. What happened?
Worst case scenario, right? That's an easy way to lose trust, right?
Right. So I love that answer. Nope, keep that answer. We're keeping that.
Okay, perfect. Good stuff. Nice.
Well, thank you so much, Alec, for coming to hang out with me on Tipsy Thursdays. All the insights and tips that Alex shared with us around being bold, right? Being courageous, right? Standing on what your forecast is, understanding how to not only look at the data, but then also making sure that we are thinking outside of the box and being able to articulate that to leadership. Not heavily relying on or over-relying, that's probably the word we should use, over-relying on the tool to do things that we should be our cognitive ability to do. I hope that tip was helpful for you this week. Until next time, go be great and let's make impact. See y'all soon. Bye.